Hi guys. Today I want to talk about the difficulties I've experienced with uh, the social aspect of life and how I think that ADD might have really sort of made it a lot more difficult for me. So I mean, from a very young age, I remember always being a loner, never fitting in. Um, I could never really, I could never relate to other people, especially other guys, because I'm not really a stereotypical male. I'm not like I don't have interests that are stereotypically male. I'm quite, if anything, I'm quite feminine because uh, my parents divorced when I was 11, and I was sort of lived with my mum ever since then. But my father was always kind of just emotionally detached, sort of not really a strong male. Quite a passive beta male type. And I think that's really sort of affected me as an adult and my experiences growing up. A lot of social rejection has really sort of fucked me over in the long run because, um, our memories shape everything, shapes our actions, our beliefs, and it's done the same for me. So I have this sort of lack of trust with people. I'm very cynical and I know it's bad and I'm trying to sort of get over it and listen to like self-help stuff and um, just look on the internet about how to be successful and stuff like that. Recently, I've had to get rid of a lot of my group of friends because I just felt like I had to let them go if I wanted to get further in life because they are sort of what I would call normal, and I have never been normal. I don't. I might appear normal to people, but I think maybe part of the reason why I don't have an awful lot of friends is because I have ADD, and I believe that my lack of popularity might be because I just don't seem to engage people. I don't seem to function on a higher social level that people normally do. I think it's probably the inattention and lack of interest in other people. I've always kind of been uninterested in other people. And I always feel like I'm kind of living a lie. I'm trying to force myself to be more sociable because I think, it's the only way I'm going to get ahead and get what I want out of life. But I had to ditch these friends because I never felt I fitted in. I always felt like I was the guy on the sidelines that just turned up and they talked amongst themselves. And this happens all the time with everyone I meet. I'll sort of talk to people and it'll be polite, friendly. I'll crack a joke. I've got a sense of humor. Um, but then I'd see them walk away and talk to other people far more. They'd sort of have in depth conversations with them and hang out with them, almost as though they find them more easy to talk to. I mean, I can have a good conversation. I'm very insightful. I'm quite intelligent. Um, and I'm quite sensitive. In fact, I'm very empathetic. I think a lot of ADHDers do have a lot of empathy, because we experience emotions very intensely, and I certainly have growing up. I've always been a very emotional person, and especially the loneliness I feel very frequently. I can't tell you. I'm in my late 20s, and it's been a very lonely time, especially going back to university. Everyone's sort of younger than me, and then there's very few people in between who are kind of my age, and it's really hard to connect because everyone's in different stages. I feel like I can't really connect with the younger people because they're so much more immature and they're still in party mode. Where I've done that, I've been there and done that for the last 10 years, and I've grown tired of it. All I care about now is my career and getting some happiness. So I'm just about to graduate actually from a degree, which I never thought I'd do, and I wouldn't have got through it without my meds and a lot of support. But I'm finding now that a lot of my friends are just sort of, they're either getting married and having kids, and I just don't see them, or the ones who are still single are sort of just like still in party mode and they're choosing not to grow up. Whereas I really want to get my life together, you know? I think there's so much out there and I really want to experience a lot more. But as I was saying about the interests I have, you know, I'm not into sport, I'm not into cars, I'm not into the whole British lad culture thing, you know, I can't stand it really. You know, I've always been a bit of an artist, creative type. My passion is photography. Um, So yeah, I mean, all my old friends, they're just not into that, and all they ever talk about is gambling, football, blah blah blah. And I'm just like, I just can't join in, you know, I just can't. So I'm literally forced to go outside of my comfort zone and seek new people out. You know, I actually have far more female friends than I do males, and I don't know why. Maybe it's because I'm just more feminine in my nature. Maybe I'm just um, I have better conversations with them, and I do find girls are just easier to talk to. But now it's like I'm at a stage where I literally have nobody to hang out with. Yeah, I spend pretty much every day alone. You know, I might go to university and talk to people, but after I graduate, I'm gonna have nobody pretty much. I have friends on Facebook and all that, but you know, I rarely ever hang out with anyone. I sort of just get tired of doing things by myself. You know, I mean, I'm single, and I've had to be single really to focus on bettering myself, getting my career right, and recovering from my past heartbreaks. So I don't regret it, but it does get to a point now where I'm starting to think, I just want to have a happy life. You know, I want to have that career and a girlfriend, and just I've got to try and be patient. But I've been waiting for years. You know, I've been waiting for 3+ years. I've never really fitted into the workplaces either. There's always been one asshole to pick on me or bully me, and I don't know why. It's just I seem to have this magnetic sort of appeal to bullies. Maybe it's because I'm just so laid back, and they just think they can take advantage. But I don't tolerate much bullshit these days. I think this is why I'm so selective about who I spend time with. And in a way, yeah, that is causing a lot of loneliness. But I'd rather have one close friend than 50 acquaintances that wouldn't be there if I was on fire. You know, they wouldn't piss on me if I was on fire. So, you know, that's just so unfulfilling. If anything, you can feel more lonely by having superficial relationships. And I really want to have deep, meaningful relationships, and it's hard to come by. You know, and I think if you kind of miss the boat at a younger age, you can miss the opportunity altogether, and it can be very hard to make friends as you get older. But you know, I went to university later because I spent several years in dead end jobs, and it took me years to figure out what I wanted to do, and only now do I sort of have an idea. But regarding the social aspects, I've never had a problem with kind of just making acquaintances, but it's making lasting friendships that I can hang out with. It's just virtually impossible, and I don't really know what to do about it. I'm trying to look on Facebook, social groups, things like that. Um, but also, I think with the ADHD thing, when I was younger, I'd sort of zone out of conversations, and I think people probably thought that I wasn't paying attention or that I wasn't interested. And it wasn't so much that, it was just the fact that perhaps I couldn't really focus, literally couldn't focus, and so that's gonna sort of make me appear like I'm apathetic, but it's a biological issue. But you know, I do care about other people. But I think unless something really interests me, I can't really focus on it, and I'm just sort of making pleasantries with people. I'm pretending to sort of be interested. And I think that's the way it is for a lot of people, but I just can't seem to connect with people that have the sort of similar niche interests that I do. But also being introverted is probably a big part of it. I mean, from a very young age, I was a loner. You know, I remember in primary school, I'd have one or two friends, and then they'd sort of ditch me for other boys who were more like them. And I guess because I was always different, I always knew I was different from a very young age. So I remember a time when I was about 7 or 8 years old, every single lunchtime I'd be basically sat on a swing by myself for the entire time. And it's pretty damn sad. You know, a child shouldn't be living like that. But I don't know whether it's because ADHD is kind of almost autistic, or whether it's just because of a combination of personality traits and experiences. I find it really hard to decipher why I am the way I am. I can't really differentiate between my habits and just personality.